I would not recommend either, because with that being said, right now I am in love with the a question that I received from a follower on Instagram. She is an upcoming tattoo artist, and she was wondering my opinions on rotary machines, specifically the pen-shaped rotary machines. So I'm going to talk about the differences in my experience from rotary to coil and what I think about them. I don't know all the answers, just a little disclaimer. I am not tattoo professor, masters in tattooing, but I do have 10 years experience in tattooing. Started off with coil machines my first 5 years of tattooing, and then I transitioned into rotary machines about 3 years ago now, using pen-shaped pen rotary machines. That's what this video is going to be about, comparing coil machines with rotary machines. I am Elvis Tattoo Experience. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe. I appreciate it. We're almost at 400. Let's get right into it. So this is a website called Google. Just kidding, I'm sure you guys know that. Coil tattoo machine, there we go. So this is a coil machine. They run off of a magnetic cycle. The two coils create a magnetic pull, and it pulls the bar down right here, and it makes contact with the tops of these coils. Once it makes that contact, it cuts the current and then releases it, and then once it comes back into contact with this, it starts the current again, creating the magnetization, and it just does that process over and over and over and over and over and over and over again and over again. So one thing off the bat, coil machines have more to them. They're more customizable. You can make changes, adjustments. You can be very specific on how you want your machine to hit on coil machines, because you can adjust here, you can adjust here, you can adjust here, you can adjust here, and you can adjust the actual spring. You can adjust or make changes to the whole setup basically. So the frame is the car, right? The car frame. Then you got all the other parts that create the rest of it. And then something else you got to add to this is a tube, which is this piece right here, completely separate from the tattoo machine itself. The tube holds the needle in place and allows you to grab the machine and tattoo with it. So right here, you know, the needle goes up and down, boom, 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 boom. What I notice is coil machines, it's a lot easier to do line work and pack in shading, as well as do soft shading, because you can adjust each machine specifically for that. So because you can do that, you can be more precise with each machine. So line work is easier, shading is easier, whether you want to pack or you want to have it soft. The coil machine is king. The machine tends to be heavier than a rotary machine, so sometimes it's a little bit more stable because you have that weight to balance as you're doing line work. And that's something that I had to get used to when I transitioned to rotary machines. The machine is weighted, and all machines are weighed differently, but for the most part, a coil machine is going to weigh heavier than a rotary machine. So the downside to a coil machine, because it is heavier and because of the vibration, because it hits harder than a rotary does, if you're not experienced or used to tattooing long hours, or you've already been tattooing a long time, like years and years, you'll start to develop pain, discomforts in your hand. Your hand may start to cramp because you're holding a heavy machine, and after 5 hours of tattooing, it starts getting painful or starts to hurt a little bit. Another thing is, if the machine is not running properly, it's because you need to tune it up. And when you tune it up, you're basically readjusting the settings of your machine because of the vibration and the usage. Things tend to get loose, moved while you're moving your machine, while you're cleaning your machine. You may move it around a little bit, and you have to do those adjustments. So you got to make sure you adjust it and check it, you know, before your tattoos, or like once a week or once every couple weeks, or as often as you can, preferably before each tattoo, especially if you really get in there when you clean it, or you keep it in a case, or you run it really fast, because it'll come out of tune and you got to retune it. But that is the upside, though, is that you can make adjustments, you can fix parts on it as long as you know how to, you know, what the components are of a machine, which if you're a tattoo artist and you're using coil machines, you should know what these components are and what they do and how they work. So that way, when something happens, for example, if the capacitor busts or the contact screw is worn out or it breaks or whatever, you know how to change it. You know how to adjust it. You know how to file it down. You know how to get it back to performing shape. So now let's go to the Rotary tattoo machine. Now, as you can see here, rotary tattoo machines come in all kinds of weird shapes. For the most part, the basic tattoo machine is one of these. It's a direct drive, which is basically just the motor, and the motor's on a cam that has a little, I'm gonna call it a nipple for lack of a better word at the moment, where you put your needle in and that turns around and creates that up and down motion. This is a Dragonfly. Yep. So this one, it still has that motor and it has that cam in there, but now it has another mechanism in here that creates a straight up and down motion. And then this piece has a spring in it that adjusts how far this will move. So this one has some customization to it, but yeah. So that's I mean, I don't really need to go too much into depth. If you're a tattoo artist, you should know about rotaries. So right now we have what's becoming very popular is the pen shaped machines. So this one has the motor in it and it cuts out the shape of it and the tube. So now we go into the cartridge system. So because these rotaries, you have to have a needle bar for your needle and a separate tube. The Hawk pen or the pen machines in general, they don't require that. They have a little bar in it that pushes on these cartridges. I've been using Papa's for the last 2 to 3 years, maybe longer. But anyways, so this is a cartridge. So it has the needle in there, but it's on a rubber plastic piece and a plunger that has this little mechanism, and the bar in the machine hits this, and then the spring in here gives it tension, so that way it's able to go in and out, back and forth. So that is the cartridge that you put into the Cheyenne pen, or just a pen shaped in general. All right, so let's talk about the pen shaped rotaries. Super convenient. What sold me was the consistency and the convenience. When I tattoo, I use anywhere from 1 to 6 different needle groupings. So it means I need 6 different cartridges for a specific needle type, a needle size, needle grouping. So I can just switch. I pop out one cartridge, put in the next one. But with a coil machine, the needle is on the bar. So unless you're gonna be setting up your machine and then breaking it down to put in the new needle size, this is just the more convenient way of doing it. With a coil machine, you need one machine that does each specific job. So you can have one that's specifically for shading and uses shader type needles, and you can use liner coil machine that's set for lining with lining type needles. But you can get each type of technique, lining or shading, more precise because of you can make the adjustments to a coil machine. With the rotary machine, it's one hit, you can't change it. It's one strength, one stroke, there's no changes to it, but it stays consistent. It doesn't come out of tune, at least as far as I know. It doesn't have something like that to where you got to make adjustments on your own, so it'll always run the same. With rotaries, you have to adjust your technique because of that, because a coil machine will have a bit of mercy on your technique because of how you set it up. A coil machine does not give a what you're tattooing. It's gonna do it the way it wants to do and the way it was designed to do. So the rotary machine is consistent, and what I mean by that is that it doesn't change the way it strokes, the way it works. So for me, I had to get used to that, but once you get used to that and you are able to perfect your technique with a rotary machine, it's cherry. So the convenience of it is being able to switch your needle types in between, you know, just clicking in, out, unclick it, get the new one in, click it in, you're ready to go. Lining, shading, whatever you want to do. The shape of it is shaped like a pen, like a marker. It doesn't have this backside, which normally would sit this way on your hand, it'll hit your wrist or your hand, and it'll be harder to tattoo some areas. For example, the neck. It's harder to tattoo the neck with a coil machine or a machine that has that back side than it is to tattoo with a pen shaped machine. So that's another positive. The weight, the vibration. The weight and vibration is super beneficial with the vibration. It does not vibrate as intense as a coil machine does. I mean, it just depends on what coil machine and what type of machine it is. But the rotary machines are light. It's easier for me to tattoo long sessions with it than with the coil. Let's see what else. Setup and clean up. It's easy to set up and clean up a rotary machine with a pen than it is a coil machine. There's a little bit more steps to it. I think that's basically it. If I had to choose between a coil and a rotary, pen rotary, let's do all three: a pen, a rotary, and a coil. The pen is super convenient, easy to pack, easy to set up. The shape, ability to tattoo long hours with it is just awesome. As long as you perfect, or at least are really comfortable and confident with your technique with it, that's the machine for you. But if you want to do a tattoo with ease, and what I mean by ease is like the actual procedure of putting the ink and needle into skin, the coil machine will be more accurate to your intentions by adjusting it and getting the right type of machine, whether it be shading or lining for the specific job. They're more accurate, but they're heavier, they're harder to set up. If you want to have more than one needle set up, you would rather have 5 to 6 machines or 2 to 6 machines to set up for each different needle, instead of breaking down and setting up your machines. Because sometimes I'll switch from a liner to a shader on my rotary every couple minutes, and it'll take minutes to set up and break down a coil machine, and it only takes 2 seconds or a second to pop out the cartridge, pop a new one in, you're ready to go. So it really depends on what you're trying to achieve. I would not recommend either, because it really is preference. The pen is convenient, but you kind of just get what you get. Can't make adjustments to it. The stroke is going to be the same, and that's pretty much just all there is to it. You save time with setup, you save time with switching in between cartridges. You don't have to have 5 machines. It's lighter on your hand, but you have to adjust the way you tattoo to be able to use it without fucking somebody's skin up, because you can mess up a tattoo because it's not adjusted to a specific way of tattooing or a specific technique: lining, shading, packing. So the way you tattoo is different for each one. So it really depends on which one you want to learn and what you're going to be doing. The industry is transitioning into a rotary dominant industry, but there is still a lot of coil machine users out there, and you can see the difference in the work. Someone went from coil to rotary, you would be able to see the difference in the way they tattoo, at least until they got used to it and somewhat mastered their technique with the rotary. It took me a couple years to get comfortable with the rotary because the weight was different. The weight alone I had to get used to, because I was used to having the weight of the machine in the back. So when I would line, that weight kept my hand steady. But now that that weight is gone, I have to adjust how I move my hand and my arm, because it's so light that I start to shake trying to keep it steady. So there's ups and downs to each machine. So it's really preference. But what I would recommend you do is experiment with the machines. As a tattoo artist, almost every tattoo artist that I know has multiple machines. There's a way of tattooing where everyone should know how far to go, how to shade, how to line, but everybody has their style, their own techniques that they develop from experience. So You can do anything, any type of technique with any of these machines if you practice it and you make the needed adjustments for it. So with that being said, right now I am in love with the Cheyenne Hawk pen. I've been using it for the last 3 years. I have my Coil machines still. I will not get rid of them. I've thought about even having set up my Coil machine for lining specifically, and then my rotary machine for both. But there is a new machine that I am wanting to try, and it's actually this one right here, this purple one. It's called the Zion by FK Irons. It's the Spectra line of rotary machines. This specific version is the Zion, and this one has a mechanism inside that you can adjust to give you similar adjustments. So this one I think is the game changer, and I will eventually buy one of these to use it. And yeah, I'll do a review on it. I will be tattooing live on stream with it once I get it. So that's pretty much it for this tattoo topic. The two machines, rotary, coil. Let me know what you think. You know, what your ideas, what your comments are. You know, maybe I missed something, which I'm sure I did. But that's pretty much my experience with coils and rotaries. So if you enjoyed that video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and if you want me to talk about any other tattoo topics, feel free to come into my stream live on Twitch, where I do fucking gaming, tattooing, just chatting on twitch.tv/onset2inc. Go follow me on Twitch, and from now until July of 2020, all my followers, if you follow me on Twitch and you're from the area, then you can get tattooed. You will get $50 off your next tattoo. So check it out. Go follow. Make an account. Doesn't take long. Give me a follow. And if you do follow me, send me a screenshot on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram, onset2inc. My tattoo Instagram is I am Elvis Tattoo. Follow all my socials. I'm on TikTok at onset2inc. And yeah, so I hope you guys like that, and I'll see you guys in the next one.